5 vintages from Piemonte to try today. Nebbiolo-based wines are some of the best wines in the world for long aging. The unique DNA of the Nebbiolo grape, the terroir, and the knowledge of the producer all contribute to this amazing potential. I said potential because there is one more factor that is possibly the most important one, which is the vintage. Growing conditions vary drastically from one year to the other, and we must never forget that wine is made with grapes that grow under the sky for the entire year. Sun, wind, rain, and sometimes even hailstorm, unfortunately, they all go in what we consider the expression of the vintage and the wine. We have picked 5 vintages from the last 60 years to show you how Nebbiolo grape can develop over time. This is a set that we have created for a lucky wine club member in New York, and this is obviously something we can also create for you. So join the club. We're gonna move from younger to older, and we try to somewhat pick one per decade. Stick around and wait until the end of the video. We may decide to open one. We are going to move from younger to older, and we try to somewhat pick one per decade. So stick around to see how far we can go. 2016, one of the best vintages of our lifetime. I remember tasting the 16s from Barolo when we returned to Piemonte from our time in California. And the 2016s, they were already super fragrant, very open, very gentle, already in barrel. 2016 is a classic vintage, which is amazing now and will also last for many, many decades. 2010, another very classic vintage, one of the most highly rated from wine scores. Not that we really care about wine scores, but it was a pretty mild year. A big snowfall gave a lot of water to the vines. Spring was cool and summer was slightly below average temperatures, and harvest was also a little bit later, just like in 2016. Another great vintage. 1989. You can tell when a vintage is exceptional when you can still remember many years after what the wines was like. This is one of the best vintages ever for me. I vividly remember at least 3 wines from 1989 that I tasted over the years. 1989 was a big vintage with big temperature shifts during the summer. The wines are rich, structured, and complex. 1971. One of my 2 favorites of the 70s next to 1974. The weather was wet during the spring and hot during the summer, making wines that are pretty good for aging. These wines are already 50 plus years old now, so we are venturing into treacherous territory. This means that only perfectly stored bottle will still be drinkable, and we know where to find them, don't worry. The bottles that are still okay will give you an amazing experience. The last of the 5 vintages that we picked is the mighty 1964. This one is famous for several reasons. A lot of producers in the Barolo and the Barbaresco area bottled their first labeled Barolo in the 60s. Also thanks to the very favorable growing conditions in 1961 and 1964. 1964 was a warm year with a late harvest. Unfortunately, all the wines from 1960s that I've had were already on their older side. I wish I could have tasted these when they were young, but some of them are still drinkable today. And you know what? We should open one of these. Chiara, what do you think we should open?
64.
Okay, you want the old one?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. All right, so let's open it. Obviously, we're dealing with a bottle that is 60 years old. So in this case, you always have to consider that there's no right or wrong, meaning some bottles will survive and some bottles won't. And there's no real way to know until you open it. We're gonna go with this corkscrew. There's called an asso. These two will go inside the bottle, the long one first. Wiggle it in as much as we can until the second one gets closer, and then we're gonna keep wiggling until you reach pretty much this point where the asso is entirely inside. Then, if the cork is healthy, you should be able to just twist while pulling. If the cork comes out in one piece, you're obviously fine. If it doesn't, it's totally normal. Just double decant the bottle and you're good to go. Let's try it. 1964 Barolo. And the color is stunning. I mean, for a 60 years old wine, I'm speechless. The nose is still so alive. Obviously, we have lost most of the fruit, but tar, licorice, amaretto, something more earthy like mushroomy, very, very earthy. And now it's opening up even more. So I'm getting this cigar, chocolate, leather, like a dusty old closet, camphor. And one more, something more. Rhubarb and spices in general. It's really, really impressive. Let's try it. There's obviously very little tannins left, but there's a very nice, somewhat sweeter note that obviously reminds me of port and sherry. Just an amazing bottle. Very, very grateful for this 60 years old Barolo. Thanks for watching. This is some of the stuff that we can ship your way. So make sure you check out our wine club, subscribe to this channel, and see you in the next one.